So before we begin, I would like to explain the criteria I'm going to be using here. First of all, I'm not going to be ranking the negative passives for obvious reasons, as they are all bad, and you should never want them for any reason. The only exception is Mercy Hit, but that's so incredibly niche and becomes obsolete so fast that I didn't even consider putting it in. Second, I'm also not ranking most lower rank passives, the white ones that have very small bonuses. Again, most of these you replace as soon as possible, so they're not really an option anyone actively chooses, with the two exceptions being Insomnia and Otherworldly Cells, which I will explain later. Now, for the rankings. On the bottom tier, we have Dog Poop, which is exactly what it is. These are passives you don't want for any reason. They're not necessarily negative, but they barely help, if at all. Here I put all but one of the sanity buffs, all the hunger buffs, as I particularly don't find them useful. Food is plentiful, and you'd rather have them finish the job fast and then rest than work slower for longer on most cases. The weaker movement ones are below niche, so I put them here too, along with some other random stuff that is borderline positive and isn't worth its gold color. Above that, we have the niche tier. This one is a bit more complicated. Some passives aren't outright good or bad. They serve a function, and for that function specifically, they're the best you can have. But outside of that, they're useless. Let's go through them. Lavish Hospitality and Service Minded are very good for farming drops via mass breeding and slaughtering, as well as some other, even more niche uses with Yakumo, but that's all they're good for. Babysitter, Philanthropist, and Ranch Master are only good in very specific scenarios, but fall off rather quickly in the endgame. Heavily Armored is mandatory for implode builds, and pretty much nothing else. King of the Waves and Immortal Engine are for us weirdos who like exploring the ocean for some reason. Then we have the first overall good tier, the better than nothing tier, which might seem harsh. They're fine when you get them, but are never kept for long. They are basically decent buffs that are quickly outclassed by better passives and are rarely, if ever, stacked together. Otherworldly Cells barely made the list. It's only here because it's basically 3 lesser passives in one. Moving on, we have the very good tier. These are some of the best passives you can get without much effort, and you can pretty much beat the entire game with just them, even the hard modes. They include all the 30% specific elemental damage buffs, the rarer dual element damage buff, as well as Lunker, Holy Blade, Lucky, Swift, and Artisan. While these are very good, they all have direct upgrades, but can still be stacked with similar passives for some builds. The only exception here is Hermit Sage, which has one good use on base pals that are constantly working but don't need much work speed, mainly electricity, and your dedicated food cooler. Then, just below the S tier, we have those passives that are amazing and are usually seen together with the S tier passives if you want to stack a particular stat or make an absolute machine of a base pal. They are rarely swapped in dedicated builds. I left Vampiric here because it has some use, but at the very end game you can replace it altogether for Dark Pals. And finally, we have the absolute best tier. These are borderline broken, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got nerfed or changed in the future. But as of 1.0.3, they are not, so here we are. Immortality is basically mandatory for sustaining. It increases the pal's longevity so much that you pretty much need it. The attack bonus is just the cherry on top. Serenity is an absolute beast of a passive. If it only had the cooldown decrease, it would still be on this tier. God of Destruction is the best attack passive overall. It reduces HP, but also increases your defense, so it's even better with Immortality. Demon's Hand is basically cheating for a worker pal. They can recover their sanity after the job is done, which, in this case, is pretty fast. Diamond Body is amazing in the arena, where you can get interrupted so easily. I always have it at least on my main pal. Dimensional Leap is swift and runner put together, and food is never a problem. If you need speed, this is it. Vanguard, Stronghold Strategist, Idiosyncratic, and Reload Master are all incredibly good because they function passively and can be stacked together on your 4 inactive pals. I know some of these rankings are based on personal preference, but I tried to be as unbiased as I could. If you disagree, leave a comment. I'm always willing to discuss. If you like the list, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you for watching.